Test, test, test. All right, good evening, everyone. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Salinas prior to us getting started for the thought of the day and pledge of allegiance. Mr. Salinas. So we got two gentlemen here with us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honra la bandera de Texas. Te juro lealtad, Texas, un estado bajo Dios, uno e indivisible. Amén.
The thought of the day. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Dr. Martin Luther King.
And if you may, Mr. Salinas, I'm sorry, the gentleman I know, is it Edgar and who was the other gentleman? Okay, well, thank you guys for joining us on the day off. Okay, appreciate you guys. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's 6:15 on, excuse me, it's now 6:16 on January 16, 2024. We'll go ahead and call for roll call and the recording of board members present. All right, it is open. Perfect. We could go ahead and close it. All right, so I do declare a quorum present. Again, welcome everyone to this chilly evening. Thank you for joining us, and we'll try to move swiftly for you guys. Again, we do have Dr. Castleberry here with us, our conservator, so welcome him. So moving on to item C, recording of superintendent and staff members present. Mr. Soto.
Mr. Chair, Board of Trustees, HISD Community, this evening we have our Assistant Superintendent for Business and Finance, Mr. Richard Hernandez.
Here.
We have the incoming Assistant Superintendent for Business, Mr. Flores.
Here.
We have our Executive Director of Operations, Dr. Hinojosa.
Here.
We have our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Ms. Casey.
Here.
We have our Executive Director of Human Resources, Dr. Salinas,
Here.
and we have our Public Information Officer, Ms. Viera.
Here.
All right, thank you, everyone. Moving on to item 3, which is public comment. We do have one committee member here to speak, and that is Miss Natalie Clifford. And as you proceed, Ms. Clifford, as you're aware of, you do have 3 minutes, and the timer will be here to your left. And whenever you're ready, please proceed.
Good evening, Superintendent Soto, Cabinet, Board Chair Moreno, board members, and Harlandale ISD community. My name is Natalie Clifford, and I am speaking tonight in my role as the president of the Harlandale Education Association. We are affiliated with the Texas State Teachers Association and the National Education Association, the largest labor union in the country. Our union wishes everyone a belated happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is rightly lauded as a civil rights icon whose influence upon the movement for racial and economic justice was crucial. During his short life, however, he faced major opposition from many Americans for his positions on racism, poverty, war, militarism, and imperialism. For example, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was an outspoken critic of the Vietnam War. In his 1967 speech entitled Beyond Vietnam, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stated, quote, "A true revolution of values will lay hands on the world order and say of war, this way of settling differences is not just. A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual death." End quote. In the spirit of Dr. King's critiques of militarism as one of the 3 evils of society, on December 3rd, 2023, the executive board of our local union, the Harlandale Education Association, unanimously passed a statement calling for a ceasefire in the war on Gaza. As educators, we understand one of our responsibilities is to build a world of justice, dignity, and human rights for all. We believe in a world that is free of both anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, and a world that affirms the humanity of people experiencing war. The United Nations has condemned the indiscriminate bombing of schools, hospitals, and places of religious worship in Gaza. And in the words of the United Nations Child Rights Committee, quote, "Armed conflict harms children first and foremost and has lifelong effects on their physical and mental health, their development, and ultimately the enjoyment of all their rights," end quote. After 102 days of bombardment, the death toll in Gaza is now at least 24,000, more than 10,000 of whom are children. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians are also experiencing famine. One of the most popular quotes from Martin Luther King Jr. is, quote, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter," end quote. As union members and educators whose profession centers on supporting the well-being of children, we echo countless other unions across the United States and people of conscience around the world in raising our voices to call upon everyone in our community to contact your elected officials at the city, state, and national level to end the humanitarian catastrophe. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to item 4, announcements. Ms. Mariana.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. I do want to start by reading the timeline and process for filling the vacant seat for District Number 2. This is an update from our past workshop. So during the board work session held on January 10th, 2024, the resignation for board member from District 2 was officially accepted by the board. In response, the board has initiated an application process to fill the vacant position. The application period commenced on January 12th at 8 a.m. with information disseminated through social media channels and our district website. The application will remain open until the deadline on January 26th at 4:30 p.m. Subsequently, on January 31st, a special call meeting has been scheduled at 5:45 p.m. to review the received applications. Moving forward, another special call meeting will be held on February 1st at 6:15 p.m., which will involve further review of the applications, including interviews with a potential appointment for the new board member for District 2. The newly appointed individual will then be sworn in to assume the responsibilities of the position. All applications must be submitted in person to the Harlandale ISD Finance Office at 102 Genevieve Drive or online by emailing them to Mr. Ricardo Hernandez at ricardo.hernandez@myhisd.net. The application can be found on our website at harlandale.net/board apply or picked up in person at 102 Genevieve Drive. And as you know, January is Board Recognition Month, so we do want to recognize our Board of Trustees and thank them for everything they do. And of course, the theme this year is locally elected, community connected. So we just had the banquet for them, but we did want to thank you for everything you do here at the board meeting as well. And this is just a reminder, the special education department asked me to just remind our community that they can apply for this $1,500 grant. They can find the information at sses.tea.texas.gov. And this is a grant that all families can apply for, and the money is there for them to use. So we just want to remind them we do have this on our website, both in English and Spanish, so that they can check the eligibility and see if they can apply